Hey everyone, hope your day's going well. We are going to check out Brian Cox debating if aliens have ever visited Earth. It's about to go down, but on the real, I have checked out some of his stuff, before I ever started this channel. I know he's very careful and maybe even a little bit skeptical about saying if aliens even exist, because there's really no proof, right? But having no proof is also not proof that they don't. So I can already imagine what his answer, or conclusion will be if they even visited Earth. But if he does confirm it, well, I know a guy in my street. Well, let me just say it would explain a lot. So, Brian, help me out here, man. Help me out.
UFO came now. We walk outside and over Westminster, there's a spaceship hovering. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised.
Oh, really?
Deep questions. Are we alone in the universe? I mean, probably not. You'd guess there are two trillion galaxies in the observable universe, right? So we expect not.
What have you made of all the recent headlines about, someone in the States saying he's seen evidence of alien life forms on Earth, something that was collected from the bottom of the sea, those tiny ball bearings, and they say, oh, this has been formed by a life form outside our galaxy.
It's a theory, that, isn't it? I mean, so there's a theory there. And so you can get the little things and we will analyse them and have a look. I mean, I wouldn't, it's funny because you mentioned social media, I think. Occasionally on social media, I'll quite often, I'll tweet something and there'll be quite a few people who disagree reasonably strongly with what I said. And one of them is the UFO thing, there are people who really believe that there are UFOs visiting the Earth. And I always say that, I haven't seen any evidence of that I think is strong evidence. Yeah. It's a huge claim that there are other civilizations out there that are visiting us. But I wouldn't be surprised, in a strict sense, that if I said to someone the other day, if a big UFO came now, we walk outside and over Westminster, there's a spaceship hovering. I wouldn't be in the least bit surprised, because I know that there are trillions of planets in the Milky Way galaxy alone and hundreds of billions of stars, and there's been a lot of time. And one of the great mysteries actually in physics is why we don't seem to see much out there.
It's the Fermi.
We haven't, there's strong evidence of nothing out there at all at the moment. We have no strong evidence of any life beyond Earth. And that's a puzzle and a paradox.
That is a puzzle, man. The numbers that he just, summed up are staggering. We can't even wrap our head around this thing, and just, even the distances and stuff and the time that was before us, so there's been some time, the ingredients for life are here. So we should, we might imagine that they are there as well, somewhere out there, the same ingredients, and with a similar amount of time in a similar geographical location, the Goldilocks zone and water and liquid water and all that stuff, let that stew for a couple of billion years. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. We got, we got more TV shows out there. We got more TikTok videos to consume in another galaxy. What content do they have? That's the question I need to know. No, man, but really, he wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I've seen him say that he would be relieved if it happened, so he doesn't have to answer this question anymore. Which is fair enough, Brian, Mr. Cox. Yeah, man. The numbers are insane. Why haven't we seen it? Maybe because of the distances. Maybe a civilization has risen before us and has fallen, self-destructed. Maybe that's the universe's way of, making sure we never meet. One civilization at a time, maybe one per galaxy. There's so many galaxies out there. Who knows? Dang. That's one of those questions we do want to know, or don't, do we? I do. Maybe that's a sci-fi fan in me, huh? Come on, Brian. Come on. Have they come? Let us know.
So I swear
my neighbor is...
with those claims, you don't rule them out. If someone says, "Well, I found this thing at the bottom of the sea, and I think it's
Investigate.
really weird," then the correct thing to do is go, "Okay, we'll put it in a lab and get an electron microscope and prod it around and find out just how weird it is." And nature, Feynman again said, the thing to remember is nature does not care at all what you think. Nature just doesn't. It doesn't matter who you are or how famous you are, how many letters you've got before or after your name, whatever. It doesn't matter. Nature just is. So if indeed an alien spacecraft crashed into wherever it was that they found these things 1 billion years ago and left all the fragments there and we've dug them up, then that's interesting, isn't it? but that's it.
That is interesting. And Feynman, he was quite the character, man. I read his book, Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman. He was quite the prankster. If you've never read that book, that's I recommend it.
That's, but if it didn't, then that's also interesting, because then we get a profound puzzle about why there don't seem to be many civilizations around. If we don't find a way of not compromising, but understanding that the world is very complicated, so then it's not only a single country. It's all the different countries with different cultures and different political histories and different views. If we don't find a way of sort of stopping arguing and trying to find the way to make that work, I've just given everyone the means to destroy themselves. So I personally have delivered the atom bomb, which has kind of raised the stakes on these arguments. This is the 50s. It's the middle of the
now we're
start of the Cold
talking
War.
About AI being the kind of modern version of that atom bomb. Every time I open a newspaper or read something on the internet, it's like AI is going to end civilization, isn't it? We're having the same conversation again all these years later.
Yeah. So there will be, whether that's the threat or, there's obviously, there are threats from all over the place. I still think the threat is probably human stupidity.
Yeah.
I think it's what we've just been talking about. Well, just that the possibility that someone will just press the button still. We grew up with that. So it's interesting, actually. If you grew up in the 70s and 80s, you grew up with the world's going to get destroyed by nuclear bombs. They're all there. They're still there. And you still have the same kinds of problems and obviously international tensions. And so I think, for all the existential threats we talk about, and we've talked about, I remember, just as an aside,
it's like those aliens, we still have not gotten an answer here, but if they are looking at us, like those two dudes from The Simpsons, what's their name? Oh man, it's been years since I've seen an episode, the one-eyed squids. They're looking at us. Look at them play with their little bombs. They're not ready yet. They are not ready yet. We're still playing soldier. So, damn, they just pass us by, man. They can't communicate with us like in Star Trek. We haven't developed the technology yet, the jump drive technology.
Radio show, The Infinite Monkey Cage, just before the pandemic. We did a show on pandemics, and it was before the pandemic. And one of the experts said, right at the end, he said, I tell you, it's the bats are going to get us. It's the bats. And there's something going to come out of bats. I bet you that's what it is. And, even that is controversial. There's all sorts of theories about what happened with that virus. But ultimately, his point was that pandemics are really a big threat. Yeah. And of course, we basically ignored it. And thought, that's funny, isn't it? Yeah, pandemic. And then about 3 months later, there's a pandemic. But of all those threats, I still think that the big problem at the moment is how to get along as a global society in a world where we have the means to destroy ourselves. So it's not just a fight in a pub. It's exchanging nuclear weapons if we're not careful.
Where I like how he put regarding that. Our future? Are you optimistic?
Yes. We seem to have avoided we've avoided destroying ourselves so far. So I think, I'm worried about it, because I'm worried that it seems to me that political debate has become extremely polarized in a way that really matters. particularly in the United States, actually, where it's very important that that country stays stable. And so I'm worried about that. And you see it here to an extent. And so, although actually we seem to be handling it quite well in this country. I mean, we don't usually give credit to our political system, but it seems to be dealing with quite an upheaval, particularly starting with the Brexit referendum and those things. It seems to be dealing with it. So I'm worried. And one of the reasons I'm worried.
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on right now too, and it everywhere. Not only in Britain and the US, here and in Europe and Belgium. It's that worry keeps increasing, right? Because he's careful in his wording, and of course, if you have a bigger platform like that and say, "Hey, are you optimistic?" and if you flat out say no, like a smart person like him, I don't know. That anxiety that I already live with all of this stuff going on could be, like some people would maybe panic if but I might not be as optimistic at times as Mr. Cox here. I don't know how you feel about that, but it's like this question, what I just having fun with and saying like, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if they come up. That's the least of our worries, right? We're not scared of aliens visiting right now. Maybe that's dumb, because he said, we weren't worried about a pandemic, and it still came. So hey, we might be fighting amongst ourselves, and suddenly, they're coming for us. Who knows? It might be a way for us to get together. But then there's other people who start collaborating with the aliens and stuff. Yo, guys, can't we all get along?
I'm worried, actually. I was asked to give a talk at the COP Climate Summit in Glasgow, just by video, 1 minute. And it was a little project. And they said, if you could say anything to the world leaders there, what would you say? And I said, just very simply, that given what I know, and given a lot of people I've spoken to, it's possible that we're the only civilization in the Milky Way galaxy at the moment, right? It's worth considering that might be the case. And there are reasons we can go into about why that may be the case, but it's possible. So if it's true, imagine it's true, I think that if we're talking about the meaning of it all, as we talked about earlier, what does it mean to be a human in this universe? Well, meaning is a property of intelligence, I think. So clearly the universe means something to us. So meaning exists here. But if there's no other intelligence out there in our galaxy and we destroy ourselves, then we might eliminate meaning in a galaxy of 400 billion stars forever. That's what we might do. So consider that, world leaders. That's
sad,
you have
man.
Potentially a galactic size responsibility to maintain meaning in a galaxy. And so
let's fight over some borders, man. Let's fight over some land. Ooh. Like, damn. We have a galactic responsibility, he said. Damn, man. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating and scary at the same time. Damn. I thought we were going to have some fun and talking about aliens here. We're talking about humans. They're scary. There's a scary species if you have them. You scared of spiders? Nah, I'm scared of humans.
That's why it bothers me, because I think that's true. So I think what we do here will have ramifications in that sense, way beyond the shores of our own planet. Because you look at, to me, a lifeless world, a lifeless galaxy is a meaningless galaxy.
Totally right.
Man.
There's something really powerful on that. Like we were lucky enough to interview Tim Peake, who spoke about the overview effect of that a lot of astronauts talk about being able to see the world from outside.
That
the
changes
atmosphere gives you a sense of both how small we are, but also how magnificent life here is on the planet.
You see it with as I said.
Come on, man. There's not, if you look at the neighborhood, There's no such place as beautiful and as vibrant with life as Earth. And I can imagine, I can't imagine, but I can try how that would affect you if you see the big blue marble from outer space, man. Then you realize we have to protect this thing and its inhabitants. Dang.
I've been lucky to meet a lot of astronauts, Apollo astronauts as well, who tended to be test pilots. You know, so they tended to be in those guys from the 60s, and they tended to be guys at the time. The Apollo astronauts were really focused on flying those things as aircraft. But yet, you're right, all of them, every single one that I've been lucky enough to meet said the same thing. Which is the moment you're off the Earth and look at it against the blackness of space, you start to get a feeling that there's something really important here, way beyond everything else. So I think that's powerful. That's why I did say once that I thought it was when I don't know which prime minister. I think it was Boris Johnson. I said I think he should be sent into space, and I actually meant I meant he should come bring him back as well. But I think I would
bring him back.
As a taxpayer. I would pay. I would gladly, a bit of my taxes went to, as soon as you became Prime Minister, you went up on one of those, even the little suborbital hop, go up and have a look. And I think it would be a very good use of money and then come back. And it'd be, you could get a ticket for, it could be $1 million. It'd be a brilliant use of £1 million. It'd be fantastic because they come back with that in their mind. It's not going to fly. That's not going to be a very popular suggestion that we pay a prime minister to go on a jolly into space. But I think they should.
Perspective for the world leaders would do us no harm at all.
Well, we did not get an answer to this question. They have lured us into clickbait. Well played, gentlemen. Well played. But there's some really interesting conversation here, some really interesting points. I like that idea of sending some of those world leaders up there. Let the responsibility be handled by somebody else, because I'm not sure I would be able to pull them back. It's people are bad with power. You ever read Animal Farm by George Orwell? It's a great allegory for that. And if you, sorry, lost the leash. No, man, but it would be crazy. Some people say, hey, you might need to give him some psychedelics. Maybe give him some trip to Magic Mushroom Mountain. Maybe that'll change their view. These guys, these world leaders are so in their heads, so high on power. Like, damn. Aliens, please come and visit Earth and talk to them. Just talk to him nice, real nice. No, man. Hey, this is very interesting. I want to check out more these type of videos. Also, of course, with a lot of knowledge about the cosmos and stuff, and be entertained. This got quite, zoomed in on our planet and, our squabbles and, all of that, which is very much on our mind these days, right? So we need some reprieve. Aliens, come on over. Like I said, the guy in the street, he's already here. I'm going to talk to him later. Thank you for being here. Peace.